unapologetic atheist interracial couple's progressive response to the fucking internet.
Hello and welcome to Unapologetics, the unapologetic progressive skeptic's response to the fucking internet. I am Brently.
And I'm Nikki.
And how y'all doing?
Hello.
Well, you can't respond.
I just responded for them. I stood in for the audience. They said hello, Brently.
Okay.
They're great.
Right. Good. Oh my goodness.
What's on your mind?
You know who looks like the character that the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was based on? Leatherface. That was like really drawn out.
That was a lot of words.
Okay. You know who Leatherface was based off of?
Okay. I have no idea. Like, there's so many people. I don't know. Do I really know who
Steve
Leatherface?
Bannon. Okay. That's what it is. Steve Bannon. Okay. How did you not know where I was going? With or without the leather on his face?
I'm sorry, because the first thing on our card is talk about Steve Bannon, and I was like, wait, where is this going? And I'm like, wait, is he okay? That's what's going. That's where it's going.
Yeah, I gotta communicate.
I feel you. You know what?
See, this is why people have scripts.
I feel like, no, but fuck scripts, man. No, I mean, scripts are fine, but
it's got a lousy outline with no.
I beg to differ. This outline isn't a stellar outline.
Do great at the
there are
outlines.
No lousy outlines happening here.
Lousy,
but I mean, it is very loose, but it's not lousy. But you are spot on though. They have the same body type and everything.
Yeah, I could say. I mean, every time I watch the movie Joyride, I feel like that's exactly who looks like the bad guy. Because they never show his face, but I swear to God, it's Steve Bannon. I swear to God.
I'm just going to go with you on that one because, quite honestly, I don't remember Joyride like that.
What? Really?
You bring up Joyride so much.
It's a good movie.
A way that
it's fun.
It makes me feel like it was some cult classic that I just missed, apparently.
No, it's a cult classic if the cult was just me. Now
you tell me. All these years you've made me feel guilty because I didn't know Joyride like you knew Joyride. And it is indeed what I thought this whole time, something completely idiosyncratic to you. Jesus. Because I'm like, it was okay.
It's a classic.
it was just okay. Anyway, folks, first, apologies. Like we said, we had a new studio and we were trying to figure it out. It turns out we never had the fucking mics on in the first place.
I'm sorry.
So you got a real old school recording and a real old school episode last week or last episode. Look at it as old school, a classic, a throwback, as they say. Hope you enjoyed that quality.
Yeah, it was like Ken Hovine quality there.
It was a lot. We apologize. We were just, it's been a lot. We're getting there though. So yeah, we finally figured out how to actually make sure the mics are recording. So yeah, we hope you enjoy the crispness.
Hopefully it's crisp.
Yes. I mean, we've done a few tests and they've sounded beautiful, but who knows? We can still figure out a way to fuck it up.
Yeah, it'll happen.
The ninth inning.
Don't worry.
That's what we do. It's okay. We're human. We're all here to learn. We're getting it. We're getting there. Yeah. So Brent, did you know there's a storm crisis right now?
A storm crisis.
A storm crisis. It's why can't I think of that word? National emergency. National emergency. That's what it is.
National emergency.
But
storm
basically storm crisis.
The metal band. Metal band name called it.
I feel like storm crisis is not hard enough for a metal band.
They open up for earth crisis.
Actually, that sounds I feel like that's more like folk.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wait.
I don't know why. I just feel like that's really funny. How you doing, everybody? Ready for some light and enjoyable melodies? I'm called Storm Crisis. Get ready to mellow out.
What are Latin enjoyable melodies?
Light.
Oh!
Light.
I thought you said Latin, and I was like, wait, where is this show going? I'm not on board. I'm not understanding where we're going right now. But yeah, there was something called like a derecho in Iowa. It's awful. It's fucking awful right now. They're recovering from really, really terrible storms. Is basically a national emergency. It's something that would be news like constantly if we weren't in the age of whatever the fuck this is, the baddest time. And California is once again on fire, because that's just a yearly thing now.
We're just compounding the crises.
Yeah.
Crises?
Yep. Because the pandemic is still happening. We have over 1,000 people dying a day.
In the U.S. total, or is it just like
this week? I think we've had several days where more than 1,000 people died.
Holy shit!
Like at least like 1,200 or so.
Wow.
Yeah, it's getting bad, and apparently we're supposed to be getting to about 200,000 by Labor Day.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
So, things ain't great. Like it's a lot going on right now.
Yeah, it seems to be a lot. It's
a lot of just things we don't know where we're going or what's happening. Like we are really just taking it day by day. I mean, I guess we've always been doing that, but
yeah,
it feels so much more apparent right now because it's like I can't even make, like, how can you make plans? You can't make plans.
Can't make plans.
Wait, what is that? You can't make any plans. Like you don't even know. That's the thing that's been so crazy too about, watching the news and seeing all of these, this Georgia County, 900 people are quarantining after, finding positive cases at a school. And I'm just like, okay, what is the plan? And I think that's what's pissing parents off more than anything. Cause I'm like, I think what parents and what people want to hear is like, can you just tell us that you expect our kids to get positive? Like, that's what you expect. You expect our kids to be in and out of a cycle of being positive for COVID and for us to just deal with it, because it's like they keep running these stories like people are surprised that COVID is spreading. It's like, y'all, they're children. It's a pandemic and we don't have regular testing or quarantining. Of course there's going to be large clusters going on constantly, right?
Right.
Am I crazy for just knowing that that's going to happen?
No, I don't think so. I mean, but you got to keep in mind that they're right. And the people on the right are saying things like, hey, the Donner Party had to eat each other. So
tell me you have not seen that.
Yeah, Rush Limbaugh said that. I think it was
Shut the fuck
Rush Limbaugh. I believe, yeah, he said that. He's like, hey, man, Donner Party had to eat each other, so guess that's what we got to do. What's like what? Got to just learn to adapt by eating one another. It's a good example, right, guys? Right in the back. Yeah, he's nodding. Yes, so that was a good example.
That is
of what's happening. It's a good metaphor. I worked on that all day. I wrote it down on my little pad and everything. So
it's so interesting. So he fully expects to not be the person eaten.
No, he's the eater. Even though he's like, as far as like his health goes and stuff, he'd probably statistically be one of the first people to get eaten.
Oh my goodness!
All apart from the cancer. I don't eat that.
I'm trying to figure out what is the plan and what's going to happen, because there's going to continue to be, I mean, when you look, like they were showing pictures of all the universities and stuff that have reopened, which, can I tell you, I thought it was wild that freshmen were going to campus. Like, I was like, y'all are letting a bunch of 18-year-olds who've never lived on their own go to live on their own during a pandemic?
Dude, college years are not a good, I mean, like just having your college years during the COVID times is all bad. We've all seen the movies. We know how they live. Okay, and we see it. Okay,
this
I never went to college,
not a population.
So and I've never been to high school, so I don't know that either. But I've seen movies, and kids are fucking stupid. They're stupid.
The homeschool kid is like, I know, but
they're not gonna socially distance themselves.
Just think about, like, even if you don't know anything about college, these are really the worst kinds of people to have independence. Like honestly, they do not understand consequences of anything, because you live in a little coddled, isolated world.
Yeah.
Like you don't, like, your impact on the community and everyone outside of you is purposely limited, because you live in this little like community. So I don't know. I just wish people would be a lot more honest about the fact that y'all are just trying to get to this like weird herd immunity that we're not even sure exists. And you're just using us as guinea pigs.
And it's also the generation that can just Google things until they tell them what they want to hear. They're like, hey, wait, Google says that there's this one website that says it's not that big a deal. Let's go party, guys.
That's true.
Let's do it.
That's true.
Yeah. Beach time. Toga party. Toga.
The internet
toga.
is good for that. It's real good for that. I can't like... It's real good for that. I definitely use it for that sometimes. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I do that too. I'm definitely guilty of that.
It's usually like medical symptoms when I'm like, do I really want to pay this copay and like pay for this imaging and like all of these, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do I really want to have to then have this doctor tell me they don't know, and then I have to go to a specialist and I got to do this and I got to do that, all in the age of COVID? Like, listen, being an adult is hard. I'm
always a pessimist, though. So my whole thing is I'm just like, hold on, I do have a flesh-eating parasite.
Yes.
That's what's happening right now. I have like...
Y'all, I have talked Brent down from so
of these
many
symptoms.
terrible WebMD diagnoses. Because he is so sure.
I'm on the 72nd most likely disease. No, this is it. This is the one. It's it. I know it.
I guarantee, because remember that one day that I had that mild symptom that's kind of like this?
Instead of big headache behind my eyes.
Yes.
I know.
Oh my God. We're doing too much. Let's get into headlines, because this is the problem, y'all. Listen, get your cup of tea, get your cup of coffee, whatever it is, and just, sit back and relax, because this is going to be a long fucking episode. So we got some headlines coming for you. We got some biggest be crazy coming for you. We got some we be nerding, and then finally some type of way. So tuck in. You know how we be. We're just going to be talking here.
Yeah. So let's get into
So
headlines.
get comfy, and let's get into headlines.
Unapologetics. Headlines.
All right, headlines.
So, Brent.
Yeah.
Donald Trump ain't leaving the White House, is he?
Probably not till he elects his son as king. I don't know. Yeah, probably not.
Ooh, which one? Is he going to make them fight to the death?
Probably.
Who do you think would win?
We'll have like defense by violence or whatever it was.
I really feel like Eric Trump would win, because he's just like so craven. You can tell he's like waiting to take up the mantle as favorite son, and he's going to fight hard for it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. They'll probably make a TV show out of it called like the oh man, what is the Romans, what do you call that where they're fighting each other?
Coliseum, Gladiators.
Yeah, the Gladiator Apprentice.
Yes.
That's what it is.
He is his father's
Apprentice
son. That's
Gladiator.
what the Trumps do.
Yeah,
go
that'd be
ahead.
good.
Oh, that'd be so awful. Could you imagine the cutaways? They would be just like, you would want
He
to
hit me
just
in the
shoot
ear,
yourself.
and that really bothered me because my ears are sensitive.
This is exactly why Dad never liked him in the first place, and why I've been the favorite son this entire time. Like,
it ends with them both just claiming each other cheated,
even though they've all been cheating this entire time. Oh my God. So yeah, the Trump doesn't seem like he's leaving the White House. And what's wild to me is I don't know that everyone's taking it seriously, because to me, it seems pretty obvious that it's like legit and real. And it seems to me like some folks are really just like, oh no, the election is going to happen the same way it's always happened, and everything's going to be great.
Yeah, nothing's different this year. What?
Yeah.
What?
Like, even though this man has been saying for years and years that he's going to be doing awful things, and then some of those things he actually did, and some of those things he's still doing, and it seems like we're watching him in real time make sure that it will happen, is happening. So I wanted to talk about this legal scholar. His name is Lawrence Douglas, and he's a legal scholar from Amherst College. He did an interview with a journalist this week. His name is Zashin Alim, and he talked to him about, just how dangerous is Trump as far as these elections go. And he made an interesting point, the legal scholar, that Trump doesn't even need to actually rig the election. He doesn't need to actually actually, stuff ballots and make it so he wins on paper. All he really needs to do is delay it, and then that will create a system meltdown, because we see already everything he does creates a system meltdown. And then in that moment,
is one big system meltdown. That's all
basically, that's what he is. He's a walking system meltdown. And then in that time period, with all the confusion, will be the moment in which he can, boost himself up and take power, and use probably the Supreme Court to back that up.
Right.
And for all of you that are like, that'll never happen. Do we remember the 2000 election?
Yeah. Where it was like, hey, Russia, just asking a favor, okay?
That's the 2016.
2000.
But I'm talking about the 2000 election with...
That was wrong.
with Bush and Gore, and the way it was
the ballots
yes,
yeah, I do remember that
exactly, and it's basically the same thing.
I have like the weirdest memory of my teacher like storming around the house on the phone about that. She was like on the phone with the congressman and be like, "This is ridiculous. Clearly Bush won. He won. He won. Okay, stop this nonsense of counting things."
Stop this nonsense of having integrity in the ballot box. Yeah, that's exactly what I am concerned about, and exactly what we should all be concerned about, because, we're watching this U.S. Postal Service, scandal break wide open. And what's so interesting to me is none of it works on paper. It's like, okay, well, the U.S. Postal Service was hemorrhaging money and they're doing everything terribly. Okay, so, first of all, that was a made up thing. But let's go with it. Let's say that's real. Why are you spending all of this fucking money? Why are you spending all of this money to get rid of mail sorting machines and not selling them? Why are you spending all of this money to take up mailboxes? Like, why are you spending all of this money to change policies, especially so close to an election, a national election and Christmas? Like, what is wrong? Like, this is not normal. This is not how this works in any sort of private sector place. Like, this is not efficient in any way, shape, or form. Right. And it sort of guarantees exactly what we're concerned about, which is a situation where we cannot possibly sort and verify ballots in time for, at least a day or so after the election having results. Which
it almost seems like that was the purpose, of like, I mean, that's almost kind of, if you think about it, if you think about
it for more than a second,
I haven't gotten the yarn out.
And don't just automatically believe what Republicans tell you, especially when they were the architects of fucking up the institution in the first place. Like, that's what kills me. Like, how they get to, like, we are here because of Maine Senator Susan Collins and the whole thing that happened with the U.S. Postal Service and the way that they deal with pensions. Okay, fine. And like, here we are, and this is a problem that was first created because of the way Republicans view government, because of the way Republicans view public goods, because of the way Republicans do not support or fucking, even defend, everyone's right to have access to institutions like the U.S. Postal Service. And we're surprised when they're like, oh yeah, let's just get rid of it. Like, let's just figure out a way to privatize it.
Exactly. They're like, can't we just do this through the UPS or FedEx? I mean, come on. And Amazon. Like, because it's like they want to privatize literally everything. You know what I mean? Next it's fucking school, and then next it's the fireman. You have to put a down payment before they put your house out.
Yep.
It's just that's honestly what I feel like they want more than anything. Yep. Yeah, a poor person shouldn't be able to put their house out if it lights on fire. You know what I mean? Like, that's almost like, I swear to God, that's the world they want, is like, you should have to pay for everything.
Everything.
And if you can't, well, then you're a piece of garbage that doesn't deserve to have the service.
That's what's crazy, though, Brent. We do pay for everything. These are all, organizations that have been supported by tax dollars, because we're repeatedly saying this is important to us, that we want to keep these institutions. And regardless of all of that, when we say that, we expect our leaders to say, okay, let's figure out a way to save this in the way that people most love it and use it. But instead we have the Republicans saying, yeah, we know people love the U.S. Postal Service and they rely on it for a shit ton. And the U.S. Postal Service does stuff for our country that these private entities don't do. But we still think privatization is better. And because we have the power, we're just going to do that.
Yeah. Even though, isn't it in the Constitution to protect the fucking...
Come on. Like, it's wild that they're...
Like, listen, we didn't know then that we'd have a FedEx and an internet. So
listen,
I wonder if that would be the argument. Like,
I don't know, but these Republican, like, policy analysts and strategists are making Democrats seem like Amish or something. You know what I mean? Like, they're just so straight laced compared to these Republican strategists who are like, fuck your love of the USPS. Like,
yeah, and your old ways of thinking. Your old religions and your old tired philosophies.
Like, I don't care what you think. We should privatize it, so we're going to.
Of course, private, everything is always better.
It's always better. So yeah, I just really hope that the Democrats have a plan for prior to and just after the election for what's going to happen when Donald Trump does not at all do what the Constitution demands. And that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
look, we're gonna have to see.
Yeah, because
nobody seems to be capable of pre-planning for when Donald Trump does what he says he's going to be doing anyway. Like, everybody likes to have a week or so to be shocked first that he did exactly what he said he was going to do. So we're just going to have to see how that goes.
He doesn't even give us time anymore. Like, we're shocked. We're just in a continual level, like, state of shock that's lasted the past 3 years. Like we don't have time to be like actually shocked because we're still in shock from the last fucking thing he shocked us with.
Yeah, holy shit, this guy. He's doing what he said. Holy shit. His advisors are actually as awful as we've been telling you this whole time. Anyway. So, speaking of Democrats, the Democratic National Convention happened.
Yeah, it did.
It happened. And, you know, there were parts that were pretty cool from what I've seen. I did not watch it completely the way I would have in the past. We'll get on that later.
No,
but
I caught the highlights.
Yeah.
You know, like after
well.
in Sports Center afterwards. It was caught the highlights segment.
Yeah, I watched we did watch the roll call because I knew like that was something people were saying was really cool, and I watched it and it was really cool.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
I still feel like, you know, here we are yet again with a Democratic Party that's speaking so much to middle class people but not to like poor people, because it's like poor people don't exist for some reason in the Republican or the Democratic Party. Like,
they can't drum up any empathy.
Yeah, or the only poor people that exist are somehow the ones that have figured out how to become middle class, and then we see you because you were previously poor. But yeah, it's just right. I'm really, I don't know. I liked the roll call. I like the fact that we definitely look like the party of America. Like, no one can argue that. Like, yeah. I think that's going to be one of the most contrasting things to see next week when we watch the RNC, you know, see the highlights from that, and how in comparison it's just so many white people.
Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
So many. And like, yeah, so that is always the great part of watching DNC events, is just seeing the fact that, okay, this is definitely a big tent party.
Yeah.
With that said, like, with all that happy news, why the fuck was John Kasich at our convention?
I don't know. I don't get that. I mean, you know, no, I don't know. I still don't.
Brent's like, I'm trying, but I just, okay, can we?
It's because he had the, no, it couldn't be it.
Okay, so I want to read a little bit. Rosa O'Hara, she wrote an article for The Cut called 60 Seconds to Self-Sabotage. And the article was more so about, you know, why are the Democrats not giving more time to young progressives in general? Because, you know, they seem to be the future of the party, but whatever. But I want to talk about this one section where she talks about John Kasich, because I think the tone of the DNC, the convention was very much like, we're going to build back better. And that's actually the actual slogan. How do you feel about that slogan, by the way? Build back better.
We're going to build back better. Feels like a lot of B's. We're going to build back better. I don't know. It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I think that was the goal.
But it also kind of has this sound of like, I don't know, like we had something so excellent before or something. Almost like Make America Great Again. We're going to build back better.
I mean, they're the opposite, right? Because build back, yeah, you're right, because the back implies that, but we can't deny that like Donald Trump has done a lot of really fucked up things that we do have to get back in order.
Yeah, and I've actually gotten in trouble online for being like, saying, what does this world come to? People like, oh, when the fuck was this world better? Fucking idiot, and I'm like, okay.
I love those folks.
Clearly I was talking about just before Trump and I would argue that things were better before Trump, like that at the time of Obama and stuff. It wasn't great, like it wasn't the best, but it was like it was better than where we're at right now. Well, we have a government that's basically a fucking house of cards, and we don't know if they're just going to throw us to the wolves to save themselves.
Yeah, I mean, I think not acknowledging, for example, that the way we've handled COVID would have been better.
Yeah.
Under Obama. I mean, if you argue anything else, you're being completely disingenuous, because obviously it would have been better under Obama, and it probably would have been better under any Democratic president, because Democrats are less.
They listen to people.
Yeah, and
that's the thing.
They take the role of being the leader of the country. You know what I mean? Like they are not afraid of a strong national government.
Right.
Let's
because
say that.
I swear to God, the whole thing the Republicans are trying to do is like, I shouldn't even have to do my job because that's our ideology. So.
Oh my God. That is so fucking true. It's like
I'm in fact trying to not do my job on purpose. So thanks for the support.
It's like a Russian nesting doll of not my job. Stop asking me. This is for people to decide.
This thing I work for shouldn't exist. So
oh my God, that is so fucking true. But can we talk? Let's talk a little bit about John Kasich, okay? So he was the former Ohio Republican governor. He ran for governor as a Tea Partier. Did you know that? Because I didn't fucking know that. And that's like, can I tell you? As a Tea Partier. And signed 11 laws which comprised over 21 restrictions on abortion, including a 20-week ban and the prohibition of rape crisis centers advising survivors about the option of abortion.
Wow.
So 11 laws against abortion rights.
Wow.
Including a 20-week ban that told rape survivors that they didn't, you can't even tell rape survivors that abortion is an option.
Wow.
So this is not just some middle of the road Republican that doesn't feel like they have a home or a party anymore. This is very much like a Republican. You know what I mean? Like, this person has no place in our party. What are you doing? Like, I'm sorry. It's okay to have boundaries. Democrats, it's okay to have boundaries. It's okay to not appeal to every single American. And you got to stop thinking that there's this mythical American that's like John Kasich that just is cool with Democrats, but just doesn't want them to be too pro-choice. No, they're all illiberal awfulness. Stop this both siderism crap.
Yeah. And he got more time than AOC.
I mean, yeah, because you knew AOC. To be brutally honest, I was just shocked that they gave AOC any time whatsoever.
Well, that's fucking, and that's sad. That's fucking sad because there's so many of us that want to hear from her more than anybody.
Yeah.
Or
Ayanna Pressley, Pramila Jayapal, like fucking like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, like Cori Bush, who just won her primary. Like there's, well, actually her election basically, because it's a Democratic district. Like what, like really, like there's so many voices that are up and coming that have the power, especially the power of social media behind them. And we're just like, Democrats are just leaving that shit on the table. Yeah. Like the convention, the committee is just leaving that shit on the table. Like, oh, you know, that's not important right now. What we need to show people is that we're the adults in the room, that we're going to be the ones making good decisions. And it's just like, okay, but how many more conventions are we going to do this? How many more conventions are we going to be the people that are the lesser of two evils instead of the people that folks actually want to rally behind, because we finally have a coherent vision for the future that doesn't include like ignoring poor folks.
Right. And I feel like that's, I mean, honestly, it's not, at this point for me, it's like, it's not about the people, it's about the platform, you know, and knowing that at least half of the platform is progressive is enough to support it, you know, to keep it going. Cause like, I feel like actually supporting it is better than not actually supporting it and just being like, you know, let it all fuck up and then we'll figure it out in 4 years. Like I've heard people say that, oh, their best option is Trump for another 4 years, because then people will actually realize that, you know, progressive policy is actually the best way to go, and then we'll have nothing but Justice Democrats once we come out of that. And it's like, fucking really, dude?
But
really?
how many more, like how many more people have to suffer in order to see that vision? And also, you're still making an assumption, because listen,
a lot of this is
the
assumption.
Democratic Party had 4 years from it. They had 4 years from the time that Trump was elected to do massive programming around making Medicare for all more mainstream, around introducing like why we should have a $15 minimum wage.
Mainstream.
You're right. Exactly. Like supporting it and creating
at first
marketing in order to make it seem even more mainstream and palatable.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So like something to make it seem like, not make it seem like our party is so progressive, because it's fucking not.
No.
Like it's better than the Republicans, and it is certainly moving in a better direction. But this idea that we have these like crazy left-wing people like, and left-wing ideas is absolutely absurd.
Yeah, they like, you know, they basically said that Kamala Harris is like the most progressive Senate, Senate seat holder. And I was like, what? Bernie's a Senate seat holder, but
she is like right behind him.
No, she was in front of him. She voted on more progressive things.
Shut up! Yeah. I thought he was number one.
I think it was like on just a couple other like things. It was close, but you know, she voted more progressive than he did, from what I understand.
It's just wild. I'm like, and also, well, can I just say, Democratic Committee, you're doing a roll call. Why would you have Pete Buttigieg speak for Indiana and Amy Klobuchar speak for Minnesota? Like, what? We've seen them.
It's like the one chance that we get to see like actual people, and when it happens, we got the people that we already know are there being like, hey, I'm in front of everybody. Hey.
And not to mention how much people felt like Pete Buttigieg was not the best representation of Indiana because of his experience there. This would have been a great time, but nope. Keep boosting him up so we can make sure we have him in our lives for the next 30 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Look, nothing against Pete Buttigieg, but I just feel like his type of politics is the type of politics we need to move it completely away from. Like, yeah. I'm sick of, I don't want that kind of politics anymore. I don't know. He represents something I just don't think we need anymore.
I'm good. Yeah.
But speaking of Kamala Harris, we actually have to make a correction.
Oh, we do.
We do. Because our last episode, we were just so sure that Kamala Harris was the very first Black woman running as vice president.
Oh, yeah.
And that is not true.
Oh, no, really?
No, Black woman actually has run before. And I'm going to actually make you guess what year you think it was, or around what year or decade you think it was that the first Black woman ran for vice president.
The 80s, like 80. I can't remember when the year was in the 80s that they were running, but
you know, you were alive then.
Yeah, but I can't remember.
You're like,
I was in 84.
You're gonna ask me
man.
who
Like,
the Democratic ticket was in 88? Okay,
I was alive
feel
in the
you.
80s for 6 years.
I feel you. Everyone's not like, okay, I feel you. That's fair. So you're gonna go for the 80s. Mm-hmm. It was actually 1952.
What? Really?
Yes, it was 1952. She ran under the Progressive Party. And I found this out this week from Dr. Martha Jones. She is a historian who is she actually has a book coming out this year called Vanguard, and it's all about Black women and Black women who fought for the vote and equality for all. And yeah, she actually came out and corrected, because that was, I think that was in the DNC that Kamala Harris was like the first Black woman. And actually, no, her name was, I'm looking for it right now. Almost here. Okay. Charlotte Bass. Her name was Charlotte Bass. Charlotte Bass. And she was from California. And she was the first Black woman to run for vice president in 1952.
Wow.
Yeah. So she tweeted that out August 11th. She wrapped that up saying Black women have been in this game for a long time. So that, I know I'm about to go look up some shit on the Progressive Party from California in 1952 because listen.
What's the Progressive Party too? Is it like a separate party?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
Which was a lot more common back in the day. Oh. Yeah. Like the entrenched power of the Republican and Democratic Party right now is kind of like, this is kind of new.
This is a new deal.
This is a very new thing that we're dealing with, which is why it's leading to so many constitutional crises.
I said it earlier.
Crises.
Yeah, I think,
it's leading to so many of those things because really the framers, founding fathers, whatever, envisioned factions being a problem, like as far as standing in the way of progress, but they never envisioned, I don't think, that the parties would become the basis of that problem because they performed such different functions back in the day, and they just were different back in the day. So the parties. So anyway, it is. Yeah, our government's interesting, and the way that everything that's happening right now is a very interesting time, and I think it's going to be. I need a constitutional convention. Let's just convene a new constitutional convention. Like, can we just do this? Let's just get this done because listen, we
I don't know, man. Like, wait, what you want like a new let's update the Constitution?
Absolutely. The whole thing.
Yeah, I can't do that. Nobody's going to go for that. That's a non-starter.
We need a new. Okay, maybe we can't. We won't get rid of everything, but some things have to be. We have to put in like extra guidelines for some things, like the Postal Service.
Amendments and stuff, right?
Yeah, we could do a bunch of amendments, but the way that we've been trying to pass the ERA since what? 72?
They kind of make it hard to amend the Constitution. That's true.
I mean,
we just pull out the Constitution and be like, fuck you, and then be like done with it, and we'll just write a new one.
I mean, and then we're celebrating this week, the 100 years since white women were given the right to vote. And look at how much fucking hard work that was. Women had to die, women had to starve themselves, and they had to show their whole racism by basically denying a bunch of Black women the same right.
Yeah. Because you kind of got to zero in on one issue, and we can't get this. We can't get this blurry.
Yeah, because if Black women want us to start talking about them not being able to vote, then they're going to want us to start caring about their, sons and husbands being lynched, and the fact that they're getting paid so much less, and it's
too many chiefs. Too many chiefs. Okay,
Black
just
people.
Back off. Like we're trying to do something here.
We gotta focus on one thing because that's the thing about America. We can only focus on one
thing at a time.
Single issue at a time. But yeah, so the Progressive Party, 1952, Vanguard is the book. The author is named Dr. Martha Jones, and I just think it's just so interesting because it flies in the face of I think what a lot of people, a lot of pundits too, a lot of like, look, no shade, but white guy pundits, TM. They are doing that thing where they're like, I don't understand why all these people in Portland seem to be so angry and like want to destroy shit and like what's going on? Like they don't even know what they're fighting for. They're just so angry for no reason and I don't get it. And it's like, actually, people have been talking about this for a very long time. And if you just like would pick up a book and buy people who aren't just like you and go to the same institutions you do, you may find out some like really cool, interesting things about your own country. Because this shit has been going down since 1952, apparently.
Holy shit.
Crazy. Yeah, so that's headlines this week, babe.
Yeah, okay. All right, so let's move on to a bigot.
You didn't have anything else to add to that story? Or?
No, it's just, you you covered it.
Brett's like, I'm just keeping us on track here this week.
This is, yeah, all that's bad. It's bad things. Badness. Oh, it's so bad. And
y'all, this is what I'm working with. He like
you covered it.
Like, listen, he doesn't come up with any stories, and then he's like, "You come up with the stories," and then I come up with the stories, and then he's like, "Cool stories."
I was like, "Yeah, that was right. What you said about the thing. I don't know about this stuff, so I'm just learning about it here. Okay, I'm the audience."
Oh, that's what you are.
I'm playing the audience.
All right, babe.
And I'm like, oh,
can we go to Biggest Be Crazy? Because you do actually have your own story for Biggest Be Crazy.
I actually do. I have a Biggest Be Crazy story. Yep. So on to Biggest Be Crazy.
Biggest be crazy and make me insane. It's all that fucked up shit they say. Biggest be crazy and make me insane. I wish they'd all fucking go away, 'cause bigots be crazy.
All right, bigots be crazy.
Biggest Be Crazy.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I love how we just gotta repeat every single like section of the show right
it
after
helps
the
you
song.
in the editing
I don't know
process.
why we do that, but we do. It does really help.
Okay,
it does.
That's the main reason, because otherwise I don't know where the fuck I'm at in the episode. We're all over the place.
We really are.
I'm
so sorry, y'all.
So that's why I do that. That's a marker.
Millennial brains.
So our first story is one out of the Patheos.com, Friendly Atheist blog. And it is one that I thought was quite interesting, because this is something that my family would have totally fucking flipped about. And just as expected, the evangelicals and, well, the Christian Brigade in general is going nuts about this. Is the conservative Christians warn of dangerous Disney cartoon with bisexual lead.
Please, dangerous and Disney Channel together don't work, girl.
It's dangerous to watch a cartoon that has attraction to someone who's not who they want them to have attraction to. That's
it's funny. I just knew that this was coming eventually. Like, I mean, they've always had issues. Like, Christian parents have always had issues with Disney, but it just felt like this is going to become way more of an issue more often, because it's so clear that, like, non-Christian parents, or non-evangelical Christian parents, and, like, people who are just trying to, like, raise their kids to be decent citizens have realized for a long time that they got to raise their kids differently.
Yeah, no, that's it. Like,
you can't be around here teaching, like, love for LGBTQ folks while also never, like, talking about them, having them a part of your family or friends, or, you know what I mean? Like, just erasing them from your lives.
Right, because nobody's supposed to know they exist, because then they kind of have to have an awkward conversation with their kids. And that,
awkward,
and
please.
It's like, I remember, like, that is like the big, we should, and then we have to talk about our kids about this stuff before we'd like to. And I'm like, that's your biggest fucking concern? The timing in which you're going to have to tell your kid the thing that you're eventually going to have to tell your kid the thing? Really?
And it turns out
that's your biggest fucking problem?
Yeah. And here's the funny thing. It turns out kids don't give a fuck. You do. And
no, they don't.
Like, kids only make a big deal out of shit that you make a big deal out of.
Right.
If you don't make a big deal out of it, kids just think it's normal because it is and move on with their goddamn lives, being their goddamn selves, and feeling a little better knowing that, oh, okay, now that option is available to me too. Didn't realize that. Like, listen, live in a world where everything is open and available, please, because this is like raising your kids in this way where certain groups just don't exist, does nothing but hurt them in the future. And then when they do finally realize that, oh yeah, my parents like did this shitty job of making me feel like, I mean, like, just imagine how you felt like when you finally realized that, like, oh my God, I was sheltered away from shit that actually would have been really helpful for me to.
Well, I remember, honestly, when I was a kid, I remember the neighbors were secular, because we lived in a big house and we were next to a big house. And the people that lived next to us were, they owned a whole bunch of, like, nightclubs, and they owned a bunch of porno places and stuff.
Oh,
and
porn shops.
Yeah, so my mom wasn't thrilled about me talking to the kids through the fence most of the time. You know what I mean? And so they weren't happy about that interaction ever. And
you couldn't even hang out with the kids of the folks?
No, they didn't want me to. I did quite a few times. I was like, look both ways and jump over the fence. All right, what are you guys doing? All right, let's go.
Did they make you watch a bunch
But they
of
were
porn?
scary. Honestly, they scared the fuck out of me. They had like Rottweilers that were insane and everything. I'm convinced they were in the mafia. But anyway, they were Italian. They were getting deliveries in the middle of the night. Anyway, there was a whole thing.
My God.
Yeah, it was a whole thing. I think they were in the mafia.
They were Italian? Oh, he didn't just say that, y'all.
That's who the mafia is? Okay, anyway. But I'm convinced they were in the mafia. That was my point.
In Seminole, Florida.
Hey. They're all over, man. They're all over. No, but anyway. And I remember one of the kids throwing out the FAG word, just like yelling at one another. And I remember going back to my mom and be like, what does that mean? What is that word? I'd never heard that before, And she like went through the quick spiel of it, was like, well, sometimes boys like boys and sometimes girls like girls. But we're against that. And you're not supposed to do that.
So no.
And it's weird, and that's why people make fun of it, because
so here's the definition,
and so are they.
And also
the mafia family over there, they're against it too.
Like, here's the definition, and also here's how you should feel about it. Okay, thanks. Great combo. Bye. And
that was it. That was all. That was what I got. And I was raised like thinking that way, and it was. When things are framed in that sense when you're a child, it like really does kind of get ingrained in you. And then, of course, all the politics and stuff as I was growing up were right-wing bullshit, so it just gets more and more implanted.
Can I say it's also weird to want to closet, especially because I'm guessing this Disney show is going to be for like tweens to teens.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, have you talked to a middle schooler recently? Because they're pretty far along in this world.
Yeah, they're not.
They know a lot
stupid.
of shit.
No, man, Google's available for them all the time. Like they can ask any question they want, and they get an answer.
I'm pretty sure they're already aware. They already have friends that are bisexual, or aware of folks who are bisexual. Like, it's not y'all. Parents are always behind.
But it's like the fact that they act like, oh, because this character exists in the story, that means we're endorsing and we are totally pro them and against you. You know what I mean? And that's the way they take it, because it's like, you either abide by my shit or you're against me type of mindset. You know what I mean?
Even though I'm not. I really want to see how that shakes out, because how is Disney going to even do that?
I don't know. They're constantly acting like the world is either their worldview or it's evil. Like, you know what I mean? And they're acting like this secular company, which is, Disney, which has always been secular. It's never been like, it's done things to kind of appease the Christians and stuff like that over the years, but it hasn't, you know what I mean? As far as like Rock the Universe or the Night of Joy. Stuff like that, when they're like, hey, Christians, we're going to bring all your people here and pay them money to hang out here. And, stuff
Which
like that.
Which they did for lots of different groups.
Right. And a lot of us boycotted because of that, because they did Gay Day as well. And that was a thing. They did like, oh, if you're gay, you can come to, and they'd get.
Yeah. So y'all boycotted? I didn't realize that.
Well, it was a big to-do, and there was a kind of a big thing because we all loved going to Night of Joy, and so every year we went to Night of Joy as a church. But once they started doing gay, like they did the gay day thing, they were just like, it was a big disagreement, and then it even started getting into like the people that went to Night of Joy that year. Hey, you're not as good as Christian as everybody else. You know what I mean? Kind of thing. And it's just a nightmare.
Never an opportunity to judge each other shall pass.
Yeah. They love doing that. But I still feel like the way that it's framed is just crazy. The fact that like they think that everything, that their worldview has to be for everybody. Yes. Otherwise, everybody's wrong. And
because their worldview is so wholesome. When it's like, no, your worldview is erasure. That's your worldview.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we can't know about these things. Like, oh, hey, do what you're going to do, but don't do it in front of me because I'm trying to pretend you don't exist over here. What the fuck, man? Like, hey, can you tone down the existence?
It's really hard for me to raise like good evangelical kids when you keep telling them that the world is actually very different from what we're telling them.
Yeah. It's like getting mad at somebody for telling their kid that Santa Claus doesn't exist or whatever, you know? Something like that. Like, oh, but we were trying to paint a reality where magic is real. Damn it. So, yeah. So that was fun for that. But
Christians doing their Christian thing.
Yeah. And on a more fun note, a man who can't stop talking about how his wife thinks that wet vaginas is a disease.
Oh my God. I really hope this cultural moment has passed because what I'm done doing is watching so many people discuss this, especially so many people who have no business discussing this. Like, God damn it. God damn it.
That's so funny.
Ben Shapiro, what is wrong with you?
Oh my God.
He's obsessed.
He cannot stop telling on himself.
He's obsessed.
Oh, he is. And it's so sad. And it's so fucking obvious. Like the way he lets things get to him. And I feel like he's such a skilled debater that he's like, emotions are bad. Don't ever let anybody see your emotions because then they'll know exactly what's going on. And so like he's trying to be like, you know how much this endless parade of jokes about me and my wife bothers me? Not one bit. My wife and I both know there are much more important things in a marriage than sexual satisfaction, okay?
Like what, bruh?
Like money, okay? It's money. We both understand money. And you are the ones that are not getting it, okay? Oh, my God. That was so funny.
That's really just... Oh, Brent, like Ben just keeps telling on himself.
Just stop talking.
Did you just say you weren't? Are you admitting to us that you and your wife aren't sexually attracted to each other? Which is like, okay, there's plenty of marriages like that, I guess. But why are you? What are you trying to tell us, Ben?
He's basically just like, you know what? We don't. Yeah, man. Like I don't even care because like sexual satisfaction isn't something I even care about. So. And neither does my wife. She doesn't. Look at my eyes. She doesn't.
Like when he first went off on his like WAP rant and then the stuff about, you know, he asked his doctor wife. What's wild to me is like what he keeps doing is the exact opposite of what I think he's trying to do. He's trying to like say like this is normal reality. Like you don't just talk like there's something wrong with having a super, you know, WAP and like also sexual attraction is not important in a marriage. And like what ends up happening is like everybody else is just kind of like what?
Like what?
Like wait, what we're talking about is actually really normal. Like, actually, what you're talking about is like the what, okay, of like, what the fuck? Like, sexual attraction is very important in a marriage, and it's one of the reasons why people get divorced. Like, it's one of the most important reasons because people don't feel fulfilled. Like, and having, like, this is what I'm, like, it goes back to the original story, too. Like, listen, super religious people, we get it. According to your God, You cannot be sex positive, and talking about sex or caring about sex is tantamount to being an evil heathen. We get it. But you must understand that even though that's what y'all say, that's not what y'all do. Okay? No. Like, what we not gonna do is act like y'all don't think about and care about sex as much as we do, and you just don't end up doing a lot of really fucked up shit because of all of the fucked up shit you got going on in your head about what God tells you not to do sexually or supposedly, and what you actually want to be doing sexually. Like this, I just cannot believe, like, number one side of a cult, okay?
Yeah.
They're telling you what to do sexually.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is not okay, okay? It's not okay.
And then, before you know it, you're on a yacht, your pants are unzipped, and you're standing next to a woman who's not your wife, drinking black water, and then you get just ousted. This is ridiculous. You just get ousted. I mean, they don't even care about me anymore.
Because you're not sex positive. And doing things like this is just a big no-no. No. Listen, can I tell you how fucked up it is that 2 weeks in a row we've had stories that took place on a yacht?
I know.
Like last week with Jerry Falwell Jr. and this week with Steve Bannon. And I think what we need to take from these stories is that yachts are the problem. That these yachts, these super yachts, are the beginning of the end. They are actually a sign of our decline as the human race.
Down with yachts. Down with yachts.
Yes.
Like, we're going to
instead of eat the rich, let's change it to eat the yachts. Like, I feel like that's a national platform we could all get on. Like, I feel like it's build back better. Nah. Eat the yachts. Eat the super yachts. Okay? That's what we're going to do. We're just going to eat them. And also, Ben Shapiro, stop telling us about your life. We don't care and we don't want to know.
Just let it go, dude. Just stop. Just stop.
We don't want to know any more about your interpersonal relationship with your wife that we all seem to never... Like, does anyone know her fucking name?
Who she's...
We know that
White Lady
she's
Shapiro.
a doctor.
I don't know.
We know she's a doctor. That's... We got it.
Dr. White Lady
We got
Shapiro.
it. We got it. We got it. We got it. She's a doctor and she's your wife. We got it. Okay? Anything else you want to tell us about her? Outside of the fact that it seems like you two have a completely awful sexual relationship. Actually, you know what? Don't tell us anything else. Just like, don't tell us anything else. Just stop. Just stop talking to us, Ben Shapiro.
Oh, man. I bet she feels like she's married to Michael Scott right now. It's amazing.
Oh, my God. You're right. This is 100% out of the Michael Scott playbook. 100%, because he's that guy. He's that guy.
He totally is. He can't handle rejection, and he can't handle ridicule, even though he like acts like he loves it.
And he is often telling on himself when he says really fucked up shit. Like, he's letting us know that he's the odd man out. He's the fucking sociopath among us. But I guess we've known this about Ben Shapiro for a really long time.
Yeah, pretty much.
But
Ever since I heard about him.
Can we let the whole WAP, like, cultural moment just pass? Because I'm so
I saw a video. There's a YouTube video. You should look it up. It's WAP with Ben Shapiro's face on everybody who's...
Oh my God! Did they replace Kylie Jenner with Ben Shapiro's face?
Everybody.
Oh my
is
goodness!
Ben Shapiro.
I might have to go watch that.
It's so funny.
I might have to go watch that. And also, shout out real quick. Can we take a second real quick? Shout out to Meghan Trainor. And did I just say Meghan Trainor? Oh,
you did. That's who you said just now.
Take all of my credit away right now. Oh my God, I said Meghan Trainor. I don't mean Meghan Trainor. Megan the Stallion. Jesus Christ.
Meg
Stallion.
Meg Stallion.
Oh my God.
You need me to edit that out.
I'm like, I don't
fix that.
Now I don't remember words. Cause that Meg Trainor has like fucked me up so much. Like, seriously, you don't understand. Man. Anyway, shout out to Megan Thee Stallion. She finally came out, this week, and I shouldn't say finally, but she came out this week and actually named Tory Lanez as her shooter, because she got shot a few weeks ago, and people have been fucking awful to her, blaming her for being shot by somebody. And it's exactly what we all expected it was. She got shot by an asshole, a colorist asshole who treated her like shit. And she was asked to not say a goddamn thing to protect his career. And then she was going to go along with it because Lord knows she was going to be dragged. And turns out she got dragged anyway. And people victim blamed her and told her she wasn't worth protecting and told her, you know, she was like all these awful things that you should not do to somebody who just got fucking shot.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, like we treat women and women rappers like we treat them so fucking terribly. Like, oh my God, it's awful. But yeah, she came out and accused Tory because his publicist team was going around and basically saying that it wasn't true and it was her fault or whatever. It was her fault for getting shot. She bumped into him and the gun
just
went off
into his hand and then it just went off.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Like you do.
It's complete bullshit. So shout out to her, you know, in addition to having WAP, the single, you know, be incredibly successful, she's, you know, recovering and dealing with like what's happening and getting a lot more support along the way. Thank goodness. Yeah. Because it was getting real ugly there for a second. Yeah, and then Cardi B, who also did an interview like with Joe Biden the same week that she's like trending majorly big with WAP, did a Zoom interview with Joe Biden. And I thought it was really good. I thought she came up with some really good she talked about real shit, you know, and I really appreciate that. Like she talked about having to, you know, be on the bus for 2 or 3 hours a day just to get back and forth from class, and how college students aren't even offered like free transportation at all. Like in New York City, like high school students are offered, and like elementary, like kids who are in school are offered free transportation. But once you go to college, you can't have free transportation anymore. Right. But it's like, what about me going to college changed my situation at all? If anything, my situation just got way worse, bro. Like now I'm an adult in school and my parents are like, you got to figure this shit out. And I don't have enough money to do anything. And I'm supposed to be going to school and bettering myself at the same time. But it's taking me 2 to 3 hours to get to and from school. And I think that's a really important part of this whole process is like, I wish people would really understand that, like, it's not that folks don't want to better themselves. It's never been about that. Like,
no, it's the fact that, you know, those people that made all, like, that got awesome scores in all those tests, got the scholarships, did everything they were supposed to do, now can't get to the fucking college.
Or they get there and they're like, oh, this is really fucking hard to do.
Right. Or they get there and they're like, oh, housing isn't included or whatever. You know, like, all these weird fucking little caveats that you got to fucking tiptoe around to figure out how to get money for. Mm-hmm. You know, there's many things. I
got to pay $2,000 a semester just to be able to eat a meal on campus. Like, are you, like, really?
You've racked up. Like,
really? And you will not be fed. If your meal plan ain't right, you're not going to be fed. They don't give a fuck. You're not going to be fed.
And guess how good you think when you haven't eaten.
Yes. You're certainly going to get great grades and end up with an awesome job and just certainly going to have a great future where you're always making great choices because Lord knows we all make great choices when we're in desperate situations.
That's right.
So, want to get to some happy stuff and We Be Nerdin'?
Yeah. Let's do We Be Nerdin'.
Let's get there.
We be nerdin'. We be nerdin' every day. We be nerdin'. Fuck Bill Maher right in his face. We be nerdin'. We be nerdin' every day. We be nerdin'. We be nerdin' every day. We be nerdin'. Fuck Bill Maher right in his face.
Be nerdin'. So we got a lot to talk about today. One of the first things that we're going to talk about is the Batman trailer. The Batman trailer.
Yes, that premiered this week. What did you think about it?
It was awesome. I liked it. I didn't. I got to be honest. I was really skeptical at first because I did not like, Edward as
Robert Pattinson.
Whatever.
Y'all so damn
No,
disrespectful.
that
man done made so many movies since Twilight.
No, he's Edward. Okay, that's it. He's stuck. He's stuck. No, sorry. No, I don't make the rules.
Just a question. Do you also call Kristen Stewart Bella? Or she just gets to be Kristen Stewart?
No. She's the girl from American Ultra.
Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. I swear to God. Who else do you do that with? You do that with another actor too. Or
I do it with a bunch. Once it's stuck in there, man, it's in there.
Oh, sorry. God. There's somebody else you do that with, too. And I think the last time you asked me, I literally yelled at you. Like, what is wrong with you?
Like, why don't you know her name? Because I don't fucking know her name. That's why. Okay? I know her character from this obscure thing that I really liked. And that's it.
Sometimes I'm alarmed at how, quickly I can recall actors' names. It's really weird. That's one of my favorite pastimes, just going to IMDb and
You're
looking
like a
at
walking
trivia.
IMDb.
I am. I really, really love.
And you know who they're married to,
movies.
and who their kids
I
are.
know all of it.
Crazy bullshit.
Because it's amazing to me how much Hollywood is just this nepotistic awfulness. We were just learning about. Let's talk about, Batman trailer. It's great. It looks good. We'll talk more about it later because I'm sure there's going to be another trailer that comes out. But I want to move on now to the Justice League because Justice League. Okay, listen.
I'm sorry. I thought that was first.
No.
No,
it's fine. Just whatever.
My bad.
So Justice League, what's happening is that there's going to be a new Zack Snyder cut coming out.
Yeah.
On HBO Max. Because HBO Max has this whole DC deal.
Yeah.
Which I love because now we can watch DC movies, all of them whenever.
And what did we say about HBO? Think about that.
It's the adult Disney.
It's the adult Disney. And now they got DC as their, the fucking comic book series, company that they go for. It's wow. Good job, DC. That
Quality
was smart.
Programming.
It's fucking smart, y'all. Smart.
So anyway, the new trailer for the Justice League Zack Snyder cut came out yesterday, I think. And that shit looks amazing.
Yes.
Compared to the Joss Whedon one, it has a whole different feel. First of all, the way Steppenwolf looks in the Zack Snyder trailer is so much more badass. And apparently they I couldn't tell who it was, but Darkseid was actually in the Zack Snyder version.
Yeah, he actually makes an appearance in it. Which they was for Darkseid. And that was the only time you heard anything about Darkseid, who we all thought was going to be the fucking villain of the fucking movie.
Yes.
And it ended up being fucking Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf.
Which was so weird
Bullshit.
because it didn't even feel... It didn't feel formidable because it wasn't Darkseid. Because we knew this is Steppenwolf. Of course they're gonna
they could beat the
Steppenwolf.
fuck out of him easily as long as Superman's there. But I think that's what they were relying on, that Superman wasn't there until he was. And then that's when ended the fucking movie, basically.
Yeah, and I guess that makes sense. But I found it so interesting because, I'm interested in looking at the Zack Snyder version, just because I think it's probably going to be a better feel because Joss Whedon just was not. I don't get why he was the choice. He's done a lot of script doctoring, but I just don't know. Maybe it's because he was available. I don't know.
Up until that point, I feel like DC had just taken they'd done so many bungles of shit. You know what I mean? They just kept on bungling everything. They fucked up so much.
I almost wonder if they were
hey, Disney figured out Joss Whedon's the man, so we better get him in for a couple quippy little scenes to have the comedy, really hit. I
think you're right.
The action comedy, we need that.
Even though that's not the movie Zack Snyder was trying to make, trying to make it into that movie was really tortured, and we saw it on that screen.
Yes, absolutely, and it's with DC, I'm kind of fine with not having the comedy. you want like kind of the darker comedy, you know what I mean? Like a little bit of it, which they had already kind of done, you know, and they didn't need Joss Whedon to come in and fucking do the Flash and make him like this funny dude, like, and everything, you know? I don't know.
Yeah. But also get comedy where you can. Like for example, Ezra Miller is really funny. So give him some funny lines and then, but mostly make his movie funny. You know what I mean? Because that's his character and that's his world. But don't try to make Justice League in and of itself like all feel like the Flash, because that's not how that's going to work. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or all feel like the Avengers. But
because the whole thing with Marvel and why it was so good was that each character had their own sort of type of comedy. You know what I mean? Like the part when they have their own personal flying monkeys, and then Captain America, I get that reference. I get that one. Like that was fun because it had to do with his character, and it was part of his character, and like that's sort of what makes the Marvel universe good, is because it recognizes what each character is and makes it funny.
Yeah.
You know, by recognizing who that character is and then, you know, pulling some humor out of it.
Correct.
How it would be with their interactions and shit.
And
you know?
we saw from the trailer too, we already have like an extra scene, it looks like, with the Flash in it. So we get to see him actually do a little bit more, which I felt was really missing from Justice League as well. Like there was very little attention paid to the Flash at all outside of like his family drama. But not necessarily like his world so much.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. I think it just looked good. And I think it's very interesting because I was just listening to a couple weeks ago this podcast called What a Creep. Such a great podcast. Even with a Y told me about it from Secular Soup. It's so good. Listen to it if you haven't heard. And what I really love about What a Creep is they'll give you the whole story. So like they did a Joss Whedon episode, and it was definitely to tell you about all the fucked up shit he did, but also to tell you that, you know, like in the more recent years, he's tried to become like a person who listens better and understands why some of the choices he's made are really fucked up and he shouldn't be doing them, and how to like have a little bit more humility and not use his power in really like disgusting ways. And they were talking about an anecdote actually from Justice League where apparently Joss Whedon basically wanted to force Gal Gadot to do that scene where the Flash like falls on her. You remember that scene?
Oh man, I remember that.
Yeah, that is not Gal Gadot. That is a body double, because she basically refused to do it. She was like, I'm not doing that shit. And I'm going to walk off this job if I'm going to have to do it.
Because, like, honestly, it's like a fucking 80s kids movie, man.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck's going on?
She's like, I've seen you do that scene before in a different movie, and it wasn't funny then, and it's not going to be funny this time. And she was like, and you're sexualizing Wonder Woman in a way that you shouldn't be sexualizing her. Because apparently, did you know that he actually was the person who originally wrote the Wonder Woman script? And the studios shelved it because that's how misogynistic it was.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Yeah. It was like the 70s like TV show where it's like all like
awful.
Sexualizing her,
but
and that's
even
it.
worse than that, because even with that show, Linda Hamilton. God damn it.
Linda Hamilton.
No.
Well, Linda. I know.
Damn it.
That's not the song.
Who was the original?
No.
Who was the original?
I have
Wonder
no
Woman.
idea. Deborah? I thought it was... no, that's her name in the show. I couldn't tell you.
Original Wonder Woman. Deborah?
It's pulled up. It just didn't answer.
Diana.
What's it's not a Deborah? Is her name Deborah?
Wonder Woman has always been named Diana Prince.
No, I know, but the actress.
I don't know a goddamn Deborah Brent. Do you know
I
about
don't
Deborah?
know. I thought that maybe her name was Deborah something.
No.
Deborah's from that time. That's a very popular name at the time. I don't
Linda
know.
Carter. I knew it was a Linda, but I just could not. Couldn't put that together. Lord.
Deborah Linda was
but
the
Linda was like
really.
still
I mean,
Linda Carter was like still a very powerful, like not like you're not gonna fuck with Wonder Woman in that way. You like kind of shit, because she gonna wrap your ass up real quick.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting,
lasso of
like
truth.
That's so true. The lasso of truth. So it's basically interesting hearing that even the studio thought it was too goddamn misogynistic, which means that it had to be bad.
Oh my god, yeah. Like if you're like pissing off the studio, like hold on, like look, we make a lot of shitty movies and everything, but dude,
this,
come on,
we're not gonna do.
This is too far, bro.
This just goes
too far.
Too far. But yeah, we are grateful for Patty Jenkins stepping in and writing a decent Wonder Woman. And
fuck yeah, man.
It looks like Zack Snyder tried to continue that, and Joss Whedon just came all in and was like, let's make a Marvel movie.
Can I fuck this up? I'd love to fucking fuck this whole shit up real quick here. No, it's just going to take a second. This is going to take a second. Real quick. Jesus Christ.
My stomach hurts now because it's so. Can I fuck this up?
I see a lot of opportunities here for fuckery.
But yeah, back to the nepotism in Hollywood. The reason why I brought that up is because Joss Whedon's dad and granddad were fucking screenwriters. So it's just like, oh my god, really? So yeah, wild times, like wild fucking times in Hollywood. But yeah, so the Justice League trailer looks good, and we look forward to.
Yeah, and so it's split up into 4 pieces, an hour long.
4 hours, yeah.
And they're gonna break it down and do exactly his vision, and yeah, so that'll be cool. So 4 hours.
Yeah, it should be coming out.
League movie.
Yeah, it might be coming out this year or early next year.
21. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about next. We be nerding Lovecraft Country.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know if y'all have seen it. We're not going to spoil anything.
No.
But you need to go watch Lovecraft Country because it's just going to be fucking fun.
Yeah, it's a good show, man. It's just a adventure romp for the whole No, not the whole fam. It's just for you guys watching it.
It's going to be, I feel like it's going to be very, very good. So, let's talk first about H.P. Lovecraft because I'm going to be real with you. Did you know a whole lot about H.P. Lovecraft when?
I knew nothing. Like, I learned about him because people are always talking about Cthulhu.
Yes.
And I was like, oh, it's like, and they're like and to me, in my mind, it was like, oh, some obscure horror writer named H.P. Lovecraft. And I'm like, okay. So that's what that's from. But I had no idea the scope in which he was huge. Everybody knows his books and everything. You know?
I mean, he apparently is a prolific horror writer.
He was like the Stephen King from
back. Yeah, like, he was the precursor.
Ago. Yeah. Which is fucking wild.
One of them. Well, interestingly, he was also a vehement racist.
Oh yeah, he was terrible. He was really bad.
I mean, I don't know why I'm laughing, but
It's so funny, the racist.
It's like, this is the part that sucks so bad. You're like, oh, cool. This like cool horror writer existed. You just like somebody like Poe. Oh, okay. So I should go read his. And then you like start looking up the author and you're like, God damn it.
Like, that's some bad shit.
That's some bad shit, man. Okay.
He wrote one named what was it?
Okay, let me tell you a little bit about H.P. Lovecraft. I got this is an article from Literary Hub called "We Can't Ignore H.P. Lovecraft's White Supremacy," and it's by Wes House. So here's some of the things. Apparently, he was like a profound letter writer, and he wrote over 100,000 letters in his lifetime, back and forth between other colleagues and like friends and family. It's so very interesting, weird person.
So like Facebook, but back in the day.
I mean, a considerable amount more effort than Facebook because you got to have ink, you got to have
the
paper,
you got the feather and the dip thing.
Exactly, you got to have.
It's a whole process there. It's
was this the time of electricity? I don't even fucking know. You got to have the fire light so you can be able to actually do it. Like that's definitely saying something.
You only write letters at night. And that's because of movies.
Yes.
That's why.
Okay. So just to give you an idea of some of the things he thought, let me get to, let's see. Some
thinky things.
Yes.
His thinkerness.
So, He was definitely an anti-Semite and says his letters overflow with anti-Semitic conspiracy theories of an underground Jewry. It's Jewry. So I guess
Jewry.
Like
Jewry.
Like a group of Jews, I guess that's what that means. Or a group of Jews. I don't know. Pitting the economic, social, and literary worlds of New York City against the Aryan race. That doesn't sound familiar, does it? Of Hitler, he said, his vision is romantic and immature. I know he's a clown, but God, I like the boy. That doesn't.
Is he talking about Trump? I feel like he's talking about Trump. That's Trump.
I
right
read that
there.
part and I was like, that sounds really fucking
Yeah, he's sort of
familiar.
childish. You know, he's kind of silly. You know, he doesn't take no shit. Yeah, it's Hitler. Yeah, that's okay.
So his contempt for blacks ran even deeper. In his 1912 poem entitled On the Creation of Niggers, the gods, having just designed man and beast, create blacks in semi-human form to populate the space in between.
Whoa.
Regarding the domestic terrorism of white minorities in the predominantly black Alabama and Mississippi, he excused them for resorting to extra legal measures such as lynching and intimidation because the legal machinery does not sufficiently protect them. So the Ku Klux Klan was not sufficiently protected, and lynching it just makes
sometimes
sense.
people just lynch people, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah,
okay?
it's like,
and they get a bad name because of the media. Okay,
Listen, they were backed in a corner, Brent. They got backed in a corner, and the only way out of the corner was to lynch a black man.
To kill people.
Like the only way out of that corner was to lynch a black person. Like they just had to do it. I mean, come on, they had no choice.
Sounds like a stand-up guy. Like it's it's a guy to have a beer with right there. It's like Seth Rogen and no, not him. Like this is terrible.
And he definitely would have not been a fan of ours at all. He states, so apparently miscegenation permeates his letters and stories as his most corporal fear. He insists that only pain and disaster could come from the mingling of black and white.
Oh, no.
So basically, I feel like he's probably turning over in his grave knowing that there's a show named after his last name called Lovecraft Country, in which everybody in that goddamn show, or almost everybody in that goddamn show, is a chocolatey goodness. Like, there's so much beautiful motherfucking chocolate in that goddamn show, can I tell you? So, sorry, Lovecraft. Somebody took your work and completely made it about black people. I'm sorry.
By the way, fuck that dude. But,
yeah,
we're gonna take all his work and put it into an HBO special that millions of people are gonna watch and appreciate black people because of H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes. So if you want to run out and buy a bunch of H.P. Lovecraft, stories, I don't know, maybe just read them on the internet instead of like giving more money to.
Yeah, there's summaries on Wiki. That's what I did. So I didn't know who the fuck he was.
And also, if you're going to read them, just keep that in mind so that you don't let it get too far away from yourself. Because that's the whole thing. Like, I don't have a problem with people still reading his stories or whatever. What? Like, yeah. I don't care. Just be informed about who he was. And if you are getting anything that is from his stories that are bleeding into your politics, can you please stop it? Because he's probably doing something that he meant to do and you don't want to do. You don't want to go down that road. It's a terrible road. It leads to nowhere. Yeah. Stop being racist. So yeah, I think
okay.
Could you? Okay. So yeah, H.P. Lovecraft was really just, but yeah, the show is beautiful. It's gorgeous. It definitely has a great amount of horror and comedy and a very realistic portrayal of like how harrowing it was for black people to travel around the South during the 40s.
Excellent first episode. Honestly, yeah. Holy shit! Like, we had kind of planned to watch it before I was going to work, and we're like, okay, it's got to be no more than an hour. It's an hour and 11 minutes, and Oh my God. And it almost fucked me up because I couldn't leave my work. I was, it kind of made me late.
Like, I gotta finish this. Yeah, and it's Sunday while we're recording this, so we're looking forward to watching the newer episode tonight. So yeah, if you haven't already watched it, go ahead and
check it
out. Watch Lovecraft Country. It is on
good.
HBO Max, and it's good. We will talk more about it. Obviously in the future, but we don't want to give any spoilers because it literally just came out last week, and that would be really rude.
Yeah, that'd be rude. No, we're not going to do that. So,
but yeah, the
check
writers,
it out, man. Y'all love it.
Yeah, seriously. But the writers of this show, good job taking work by a fucking awful person and using it to like give humanity to people he hated. I think that's a wonderful way of like flipping that shit on its head, and sort of silencing the people who ordinarily would have a problem with doing a show like this. Yeah. I think it gives a good reason to just be like, oh, I don't have to really worry about this, because the fear isn't of the fact that people are reading H.P. Lovecraft stories. The fear is people reading the stories without understanding him as a person, and then taking, we've already gone through that. But like, I think they sort of sidestep that, and I think that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And like we said, lots of representation, plenty of dark-skinned people, even a dark-skinned couple that's married and still have sex with each other.
Yeah, and both of them are dark-skinned. So, like,
when do we ever see that?
I know. Like, she's in the woman isn't like, totally mixed and looks practically white. Like, that's...
It's crazy when that happens.
I know,
because
right?
We don't get that very often. So yeah, looking forward to that show and to see how that plays out. So last thing in We Be Nerdin', I got a question for you, Brent.
Oh yeah, and I know nothing about this, so we're gonna wing it.
Yes, I have a question for you.
Sure, let's do it.
So you're a big action movie buff.
I do love
like
action
that's
movies.
Your whole thing.
Yeah.
So this week,
it's not my whole thing. I mean, it's part of my.
It's a big part of your thing.
Part of my
like
thing.
I try to get you to watch other types of movies, and it's difficult sometimes.
But
like,
I mean,
can I tell you the kind of fit Brent puts up when he thinks it's when like he realizes it's a focus feature? Like he gets all tense and is like, I don't know if I want to watch this because this is a fucking focus feature, and you know how I feel about fucking focus features because so many of fucking focus features.
It's a 50-50 shot, okay? Like it could go be awful as fuck, or it could be really good. But I don't usually have to worry about that if there's a universal thing before it. Okay. So.
Because I think fundamentally you feel like indie movies have too low of stakes. And I'm always like.
Way too low of stakes.
Like understanding yourself as a human and like your relationships with other people is not low stakes. That's important.
Okay. Right. Yeah, that's,
anyway,
sure.
Brent likes car chases. So, post cred pod, okay? They had a survey go out this week. Or not a survey, but like a little questionnaire. You know how they do. Like, you have to delete one action star from history, okay? You got 4 choices.
Okay.
Brad Pitt.
Sure.
Christian Bale.
Absolutely.
Russell Crowe.
Done.
Or Tom Cruise. Which of the 4 do you get rid of?
Who's the first one?
Brad Pitt.
How are these actions? Okay, never mind. All right.
How the fuck is Brad Pitt not an action star?
I mean, he's the star in a bunch of shit. I don't know.
I mean,
like,
I guess he can do. Okay, fucking... just movie stars. Let's just category of movie stars. They're just all movie stars.
But which one do you get rid of? Because they're all fucking terrible. And so really, it's which 3 would you put up with?
Oh my God, this is so interesting. I did not expect you to go this way. So you're saying you hate them all?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. This is just a barrel of bullshit right here. God, oh my God. No.
Okay. Why would you get rid of Brad Pitt?
Because he's not. I mean, the only action movie that I could really, or only like good.
Okay, let's take it out of action films. Let's just say films.
Because I'm gonna say like Mr. and Mrs. Smith is probably the only action thing I even could point to him as a character in.
Troy.
Yeah, but I don't watch that.
Inglourious Bastards?
Was that an action movie? I don't know. I mean, it had some action in it.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Brad Pitt.
Might as well be a focus film.
Brad Pitt.
Oh, I'm saying.
Christian Bale, Russell Crowe.
Okay.
Or Tom Cruise.
I honestly, Top Gun's one of my favorite movies of all time, and I know he's a fucking crazy ass dip dude, but I love Top Gun, the first one.
So you definitely keep Tom Cruise.
I think I would keep Tom Cruise.
Okay, Russell Crowe.
No, fuck Russell Crowe. Like all the way down. Like no, fuck that guy. Fuck that guy.
But wait, then you wouldn't have Gladiator.
No, fuck that guy. Fuck Gladiator. Fuck all that. I mean,
but then you wouldn't have L.A. Confidential, although his character can be played by so many people.
Yeah, he's replaceable.
Okay, what about Christian Bale?
Christian Bale did what we just watched the other night was the Batman series, the Christopher Nolan Batman series, which was and everything was awesome
except for him.
He's like, what'll it take?
It's so breathy. It's so fucking breathy.
It's not the hero we need.
He's so
but the hero
out
we
of breath.
deserve. Or the opposite of that. Either way. Fuck this stupid movie. I mean, fuck this stupid character in this movie. Like he could. I wish anybody else would have played him in that movie because the movie was fucking awesome. And Heath Ledger was incredible as the Joker.
That voice direction was definitely bad. And that's one of the good things about the Batman trailer is Robert Pattinson sounds like he has a much better voice. Like they learned from that. Like, don't do that. That's dumb.
Like, yeah. Like, we know you're trying to be realistic.
I'm low-key concerned about all this Brad Pitt shade.
Why?
Because he's the best among them. Like, quite seriously.
I don't like any of them. But I feel like Tom Cruise is better because, like, I don't really have a movie that I can look back to in my childhood and go, man, I can't get rid of Brad Pitt because of this movie. Like, you know what I mean? Like
7.
No.
Okay. Let's do this right now because I'm gonna fight this point. I'm gonna fight it because I just feel like
the only thing I can think
Pitt.
of that I really like is the Mexican. And what? I like that movie, okay? It was very different.
It's just so disrespectful to be like, Brad Pitt's best movie is The Mexican.
I like that movie.
Disrespectful response to that man's career.
I like that one.
Okay, some of the things. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Fight Club, Inglourious Bastards,
Fight
7,
Club too.
Troy. Oh, he was really good in Moneyball.
And in Snatch. Okay, I'll give him Snatch.
Moneyball,
that was a
Snatch,
great role.
The Curious Case of Benjamin Button.
Couldn't give him
great. Oceans 11, 12, and 13. That character was awesome.
Only because he's like and laughs like so much, and we love that laugh.
He was just a cool guy.
But I mean, I'm telling you,
and he was
that
always eating, which I loved. If you don't notice how much Brad Pitt is eating in Oceans 11, 12, and 13. He's eating in like every scene. It's hilarious. Let's see, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, 12 Monkeys, Legends of the Fall. I heard was good. I heard Legends of the Fall was good. Interview with the Vampire. Dude, that scene where he's sitting
good,
there with
Brad
his hair.
Pitt was better. Or, I mean, Tom Cruise was better. Sorry.
Listen, Tom Cruise. But you know what? Like, that's not really fair because Lestat in and of itself is like one of the most amazing characters to ever get to play at all. So it's like, but yeah, he did commit. Tom Cruise committed. Tom Cruise commits.
That was, yes, that's like the one, like, he's a fucking crazy nutter butter, but like, he fucking.
Burn After Reading. I love Brad Pitt and Burn After Reading.
I hated that movie. I hated that. That was a focus film. There's a see what I'm talking about, folks.
You're like, that was a focus film.
Let's do that.
We got to start doing fewer stories.
Yeah. Some type of way.
Some type of way.
Some type of way. Some type of way. Some type of way. Yeah. It's a fucking motherfucker, man. You fucking feel some type of way.
Okay, some type of way. So some type of way, we basically break down what either of us have gone through during the week that makes us feel some type of way.
Thank you for reminding the audience, Brent.
Hey, it's been a while since we've explained the segments, okay? And we got a lot of new listeners. I see you. Hey.
I feel like
Thanks for listening.
Okay.
We love you. Give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. And I, one of the things that kind of caught my eye. Am I going first?
Yes.
Okay, good. Because otherwise, this wouldn't work as good.
We started too late in the day. Brent had too many beers before we started, y'all.
I did.
He is done now.
I totally did. I had quite a few beers.
This is why we need to record as early as possible.
Like, it's a thing. Like,
Brent has a beer threshold where after a while he's just like, I can't, no.
Too many beers. Too many beers, sorry.
What's your some type of way this week, babe?
So my some type of way is the fact that I have not known what I didn't know what QAnon was until just recently. Like, I knew, I heard some like the off stories of it, you know, but I didn't actually hear what it actually was.
Yeah. I don't blame you, because I will say I never went down that road because I knew it was going to scare me, and so I was like, I stayed on the surface.
Yeah, well, not even what it was, but like what the conclusions are. Mm-hmm. You know, because it's like a lot of it is just, oh, this isn't right. How do you explain that? You know, this reporting came in, so how do you explain that? If you know, and it's just a lot of basically just saying what you know, what is wrong with the stories that are reported, you know. But then it's also these like crazy fucking conclusions that they come to as a result of the bad reporting, or that the fact that the story is not correct. And so that's kind of what I thought it was. It was just like basically any news story comes out, Q says, oh, but this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, and that's and I kind of thought that was what it was, you know what I mean? But I had no fucking idea that. Okay, so this was in an article recently, and I read this, and I was just like, oh my fuck. You know, because I know certain people have said this that I knew, liked Q, but I thought that they were crazy, and that was their conclusions of it. You know, like Liz Crokin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I thought that Q was a bit more sophisticated for all of that fucking nonsense. Okay. So, all right, here it is.
There's your first mistake.
Yeah, I guess so. So here it is. QAnon is an elaborate, unfounded conspiracy theory alleging that President Donald Trump is secretly saving the world from a group of prominent satanic cannibals that run the world.
Wow.
That's the conclusion of all their, but the news doesn't make sense because of blah, blah, blah. You know, because Donald Trump has to be saving the world.
Wait, how is this that different from that other conspiracy theory about all those important like vice presidents and presidents and stuff that go to that island and kill those kids and eat them?
I think that's what they're basing it off of. I think it's a continuation of that. This is the latest installment of that conspiracy.
That is,
you know, and it's just amazing.
And that's what's now going to be represented in our Congress.
Yeah. There is a congresswoman. Her name is Marjorie.
I'm sorry, Marjorie. That could be, I guess, yeah, you're right. That could be a name. Majority could be a name, I guess. But how many Majories have you met?
None. I've never. Marjorie! That makes more sense. Marjorie. Got it. Jesus Christ.
Did you miss an R?
It was like major, but I missed the R. Yeah, that's what it was. That's exactly what it was. Marjorie Taylor Greene is she's an elected official at this point who has been duly elected.
Yeah.
And and she believes in fucking QAnon.
And you know what's funny, y'all? She was elected because the Republican Party helped her get elected, because where she was originally going to run, she was likely going to lose. And they were like, hey, why don't you just pack up shit and move to this batshit crazy place in Georgia and then run? And that's exactly what she did. And she won. So anyone who's like, well, this is not the Republican Party endorsing this level of, this level of ridiculous's, yeah, it is.
Right. Yeah, and it's amazing to me, these type of conspiracies, because it's like, it's so clear that it's one of those things where it's like, I have to think this thing is true, but there's no evidence of this thing being true in the reality that we're in. And this guy has found this way to, like, use yarn and fucking, needles to be able to basically make what I want to believe consistent with all of the news that's coming out.
Or the somehow like ridiculous cognitive dissonance and projection that you have to be like experiencing to think that the Democrats and the left is what is like housing all of the fucking pedophiles.
That is so weird. That is weird.
When it's like we're consistently like pedophiles are consistently being found among Republicans, politicians, and strategists and donors.
Yeah, they're just like, Hillary Clinton is the person who abuses children and then eats them. And we're like, the Catholic Church, y'all. The Catholic Church, where you at? Where the fuck you at, bro? Like, this is a real one. This one's real, though.
But they don't care about that one.
No, yeah, they're like, nah, that one's too much.
As long as the Pope still hates gays, they're good with it.
That one's too close to our ideology. Can we? No, let's go up against the people that are against our ideology and say that they are doing the things that our guys are literally doing. And it's amazing. It's amazing.
And what's sad is now QAnon is going to be one of those things that Democratic politicians are going to have to actually contend with in the future. Like, we're going to have to figure out a way politically to, like, we're just mainstreaming mania. That's all we're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it would not surprise me one bit if, like, I turned on my smart news app tomorrow and there was a guy with a paper bag over his head going, QAnon runs for president. And he's, like, got his hands up and everybody's, like, around him going, yeah. I'm like, sure. Why not?
It's wild because it's an open secret that Roger Stone just like made up QAnon just to like do this. Like, this was the goal and it came to be. And it's just, I don't know. Did you know that Laura Loomer won her primary here in Florida?
Oh, no, really?
Yeah, she probably won't win the seat at all because it's a majorly Democratic seat. But it is wild to me that Florida Republicans are literally at the center of a lot of this bullshit, y'all. Like, the Republican Party in Florida is doing some wild shit. And Matt Gaetz has basically hacked it. I don't know if y'all know, but that sociopath has figured it out. Like, he's figured out what you need to do to just win and stay. And it's real scary because, like, if y'all haven't seen that documentary called The Swamp on HBO, I'm not telling you to watch it because you should take the people in it seriously or what they're saying is the problem seriously, because it's a grift. Matt Gaetz is the person mostly in it, so recognize that.
It's good to see that they, like where they're coming from on the other side. That's always a good thing to have.
I don't even know if that's the thing about Matt Gaetz. I don't know if you can trust anything he says or does because he's such a fucking grifter and opportunist that it's like.
So he's like, I'm going to say we're saying this so that they will make bad arguments when I actually say what I'm going to say.
Listen, my whole thing is you can't possibly. My whole thing is, how much can you possibly believe in campaign finance reform when you're around here being trying to be the best friend of Donald Trump? How does that work? Like, there is no consistency whatsoever in those two camps because but for campaign finance abuses, we would not have Donald Trump.
No shit. I mean, that's he's a fucking birth child from that shit.
What I don't everything about the way we got Donald Trump is based on the way that we have outside influenced by big money people, particularly big money people who don't give a fuck about poor folks and are also right-wing bigots.
Yeah.
So how could you possibly be a right-wing bigot who is like in support of these policies, but then say, the way that we get money in Congress is totally corrupt and we should change it. It almost feels like, and I hate to say this, but it almost feels like he's supporting something he knows will never be a reality, so he can get points for something he knows will never be a reality. Yeah, and that's the difference between a Republican who believes in campaign finance reform and like progressive.
Right. Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. He's going, yeah, this is messed up, and I don't even mind saying it, even though I'm benefiting from it.
Yes. There's this whole scene where he like calls Donald Trump, and his face. The way his face lights up is gross. Like it's
just teeth and bottom lip. It's really creepy. And
he's so happy about it. He's so happy about it. So yeah, Florida Republicans are really doing their most to make sure that we have a QAnon president.
Basically,
in a couple cycles.
A paper bag head dude is going to come out and be like, I'm Q, and now I'm president.
If we still have a democracy,
we're against fascism. Now arrest anybody that says that Q is not true. Okay.
Yes. Remember, Donald Trump's going to have police officers at polling stations, so who knows if we're even going to have a democracy any longer. Ready for me to do my some type of way, or
yeah, I'm done. I'm done. The Matt Gaetz thing was the end of mine.
I'm sorry, babe. Did I take over your some type of way?
You did.
You have something else you wanted to say?
That's exactly what you did. No, I'm just playing.
I was like, that's so interesting. Here's what I know.
I have something to add.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay.
You know how I be. So my some type of way isn't going to be this long big thing this week. I just want to say, as a PSA, for those folks who are feeling a little weird about it, it's okay to not be a DNC cheerleader. Like, it's really, really okay. Britt and I have been getting into it a lot lately because, like, every time someone says something slightly critical online, he gets all, vote for Biden.
No.
Yes.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
That's not true.
Did you see, like, what they were saying about AOC? And I was like, I'm sure it's probably not as serious as they're making it out to be. And it turns out they fucking weren't. Like, it was not... What she was doing was completely procedural.
Yeah.
Not a big deal at all.
And it was more my lack of understanding that it was procedural.
Yes.
And that was more like why I got upset. And there was but that was because there were so many people online that were like, she just gave it the green light to all the fucking Bernie bros that are just going to pencil in Bernie.
Which is, so that's something that's actually what we get caught up on a lot when we talk about this, is how many folks talk about not basically needing a reason to not vote against Trump. And my whole contention is that if folks are still looking for a reason to not vote against Trump, they're not voting against Trump. Like, there's no, I mean, pick a category, any category. He's done something fucked up on it. You should not vote for him. Like, yeah. I mean, if you, like, there's no way you have everything you need to not vote for this man. And I just feel like if someone uses AOC's 60 seconds to say, yeah, this is the reason now that I get to not vote for Biden, you never really wanted to vote for Biden.
Right.
And that's not at all what AOC did. And I got really in my feelings too, because people were like, well, has she endorsed him? I'm like, no one is entitled to an endorsement.
Right.
Nobody is entitled to an endorsement. And it's the same thing that happened like after Liz Warren dropped out and everyone was like, why won't Liz just hurry up and endorse Bernie? Like, because she doesn't have to. Because like no one has to just collapse and push their support behind someone else just because. Like, if she votes, she'll be doing enough. Like
yeah, if it was me and I was AOC, I would not say I wouldn't endorse Biden myself. I would just say I endorse the fact that I do not want Trump to win again, and that would be it. Because I'm not endorsing Biden, but I'm endorsing. It's almost like what we deal with on the with Matt on the atheist experience is like, I'm not saying that it's not true, but I'm not convinced it is. You know what I mean? Like, so...
Got it. Got the point you were making.
Where are we at?
And I guess that's just my point too. Like, I'm growing weary of being a DNC cheerleader, and it's not because I'm like, I don't, and by DNC I mean Democratic National, or the Democratic National Committee, the party. He's joking, y'all. People can't always get your jokes there.
Okay. I'm not that dumb.
But yeah.
That's my favorite kind of comedy. All right, we're moving on.
Yes, 99% of the time he's fucking joking with you and he's making you feel like an idiot. But anyway, which is like, such a fun form of comedy. But anyway, yeah, like I'm not, I'm going to vote. I'm gonna, if anyone says anything to me that's like, that's silly, then I'm gonna be like, okay, that's fucked up. You really should like vote for Biden. But you know what? I am over policing people's voting. Like, everybody vote what you gonna do. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I guess I just find it futile to talk to to try to convince people to vote for Biden.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've just decided and I got a motto, and usually anytime that I am on Facebook and I'm trying to explain why I'm going to vote for Biden, because that's all I'm doing, it's explaining why I'm voting for Biden.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you got to do anything. And every time I end it with, you do you, I'm voting blue.
Yeah. I mean, I think too, and I think that's a great way to look at it, because I think in the end we're all that's the thing. I think that's the difference with a lot of Democratic voters is that at the end of the day we're all adults, and we understand that as adults we don't always get to choose between something we love and something we just like. Like, a lot of times in life what we're choosing from is the least bad.
Right.
But I do think that eventually what the Democrats need to understand is that is not how you build a party. That is not how you're going to continue to get power, by basically just being like, hey, we're not as bad as the Republicans. Especially when folks are begging you to be a little less, what's the word? Judicious. Do we always need to be so nice? Do we always need to be so unwilling to bite back? You know what I mean? That. And I think that's the part, the fact that here we are, we had this entire convention, and not only was it made clear that the younger and more progressive parts of the party needed to just shut the fuck up, but that also they are not going to be protected in any way. And you know what's funny is folks a lot of times are like, why does everybody talk about AOC? AOC. And part of the reason why AOC is such a thing is because I don't know if y'all watch Fox News or not, or are ever in the right-wing realm, but they talk about her a lot. They run stories on her a lot. She is a very, very big deal on the right, because she's seen as an example of all the things wrong with leftists.
Yeah, she's the future George Soros, okay? She's just going to be forever after. When she gets old and everything, they'll be like, that's AOC in control of all of this.
But part of the reason the media then, the mainstream media then jump on opportunities to run stories on her is because not only are the Republicans and the conservatives and Fox News and the whole conservative sphere running all of these awful, commercials and fucking, stories on how awful she is. You have a Democratic Party that is not doing their best in supporting her either.
You're right.
So it's not only do they see how much conservatives hate her, they see how much the establishment Dems are not in support of her and not having her back in these times.
But she kind of gets in the way of
and she kind of gets on my nerves. And then Nancy Pelosi does something silly. I don't know if you heard this week, she endorsed the Kennedy kid, who's running for Senate. Joe Kennedy the third, I think, is running for Senate in Massachusetts, he's running to replace Senator Markey, who is an established progressive. He helped co-write the Green New Deal. He's someone that people are really excited about, and there's been a lot of work done to try to save his seat. A lot of unnecessary money spent basically on trying to save his seat because Joe Kennedy decided that he was, sick of being a representative and wanted to be a senator because he realized that the 2024 field was going to be a lot more competitive. So he ran. And it's like, I'm not against like people primary, like if Democrats want to primary other Democrats, that's fine. But obviously we wouldn't have a lot of the Justice Democrats and the progressive Democrats that we have without primarying. But I'm just like, clearly y'all got to see how this is dumb, right?
Yeah.
Like clearly you have to see that this is not a winning strategy, that you cannot consistently keep telling people we're the party for everyone, but then completely ignore a sizable part of the party.
Right.
And do things like invite John Kasich instead.
Yeah.
So that's why this year I'm not talking shit about the ticket. I'm not saying like, listen, I know it's going to be better than Trump. Most things are better than Trump. I feel like all things are better than Trump. Like seriously,
it's so serious. A potato would be better than fucking Trump. We all just go, hey, what do you think about this potato? And he says, okay, I guess we got to figure it out. Well, we'll do it on. We'll go through.
The potato's giving us nothing, so let's look at the data.
It's about
let's
the same.
talk to experts.
It's the same as Trump right now. Jesus Christ!
Like you're right, a potato would be actually better. But yeah, I just feel like at some point we got to put down our pom poms and say, hey, we got to talk because this isn't going to work. Like we got to have better than this. Like we have to move forward in a way that makes sense and like actually makes us feel like we're all a part of the same party. Mm-hmm. But like basically silencing a bunch of the progressives who are in your own tent seems short-sighted at best, but also like disrespectful. Like, is it wrong to feel disrespected? Because here's the thing. I think this is the thing that's the truth and feels awful, but the truth, as a Black progressive that's also an atheist and a feminist and queer and like, where do you go?
We have to get Biden in first. Then we get to criticize the DNC. Because until then, we don't have, we got nothing.
I know, babe.
Why we have Trump in office, we got nothing. And we're only hurting ourselves. That's my point. It's like, I understand. Biden's terrible. He's fucking terrible. But we got to wait until he wins till we can start doing this stuff and fixing things. And your point was that, no, this is the best time, correct? Like, because now people are listening.
Well, that's my thing. Like, right now is a great time to talk about what the Democrats are for instead of just being the adults in the room. That's my thing. I don't want the Democrats to keep running on, we're the adults in the room, because it's like, okay, so now all I get to look forward to is a lifetime of Democrats coming in and making everything okay again for the middle class. And then a Republican being able to come right back in and fuck shit up. And then we get another Democrat that basically just, you know what I mean? Like, this is not, a democracy cannot live this way. Yeah. There is like no way for this to work.
It's everybody doing everything for the people that are either middle class or high class, and the lower class is not even thought about.
Yeah, and just those that are like progressive and would like the government to just get on with it. Like, can we just solve some shit first? Like, can we just like,
well, that's
like,
where I'm at.
Like, here's a great example. Here's a great example. Childcare, right? Childcare is extremely important. It's becoming even more important right now with COVID and trying to figure out how we're going to get our economy back on point when we're trying to battle a pandemic and people need to go to work, but they also need safe childcare. So what do? We're going to create, like, basically, Biden gave us this like tax cut where once you break it down and look at the, do all the means testing, is going to be something that the people who desperately need these things will not get the most benefit out of. Because once again, it's for something that it's only for the responsible middle class people instead of like everybody. Like, for some reason, okay, Democrats do not believe in universal programs, and I get that. Well, establishment Dems right now do not believe in universal programs, and I get that. But I'm just so worried that eventually this shit is going to bite us in the face. Like, eventually we're going to get to a point where folks are like, I no longer want your tax credit. Fuck your tax credit. This doesn't work for me. Like, where can I drop my kids off today and won't be charged?
Right.
Or where can I drop off my kids today and only have to pay 10% of my income?
Right.
Like, those are the kind of things that we need. Like, and it's just, it seems like nobody is willing to just say it out loud. That like America, unlike a lot of other Western democracies, are facing a future that is so grim that, I'm not going to catastrophize. Y'all know. But I'm just saying, this year, I'm putting my pom-poms down. I'm just going to vote. Yeah. Y'all go vote. But
just vote. I mean, but I would say, like, I don't know. I don't know.
I'm not discouraging other people for being in
too
support.
Much just because we got to win. We got to win this.
I agree. But I don't know how much winning is going to matter if we have a person in the White House who refuses to leave and an oppositional leadership that refuses to do the things necessary to make sure he gets the fuck out. I'm not interested in watching Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, tweet out for the next year. Somebody ought to hold hearings when it's like, y'all motherfuckers got to hold hearings. You're the motherfuckers that hold the hearings.
Right. And I totally feel you. But let's burn that bridge once we get there.
We're already at that bridge. That's my thing. We're at that bridge. The fucking House Democrats and some Republicans came to Congress on Saturday to pass a goddamn bill to give the U.S. Postal Service $26 billion they don't fucking need, because everything wrong with the Postal Service is Trump and his cabinet, not a lack of money. Everything about this is made up. And instead of like going out there and being like, this is made up, this is all an attempt to steal your fucking vote, which some of them are doing. Good job. Instead, it's like, well, he said he wanted a standalone bill, so we came to work to give him a standalone bill. Then, and I get it, like now it's going to be, but the thing is, the media never does what you think they're going to do. That's the thing, Democrats. You're touting yourselves as more progressive than ever. Reality is going to hit eventually, and it's going to be clear how not progressive Joe Biden is. Right?
He's
it's going to come out eventually.
And that's, and I don't like that about him. That's one thing that's frustrating, is that he's not pro defund the police. He's
living in
Medicare
because he's
for
living in an America that I'm not sure, Democrats establishment Dems keep talking about America in a way that makes no sense. Listen, most working class people are black and brown. That just is what it is. Yeah. Okay. And if you want to talk to white working class poor people, you can, but you're going to have to actually talk to them. You're going to have to actually make this work for them. And I don't know. And the thing is too, there are Southern white, populist kind of Democrats who are super progressive who could be doing this work for them. Right. But those are not the people who are elevated within our party. And it's just...
No, they're not. Because they're scared of upsetting the old people. Honestly. There's a lot of old Democrats that vote Democrat. And these people are afraid of them.
I know.
They're afraid
I think it's the money too.
And the money
I think it's
too.
the money.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Maybe that's
money
a
talks.
longer conversation we need to have. But I just, after 2016 and everything that's happened, it's been real hard to just be rah-rah.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I've been back and forth my mind quite a bit, and I've just landed on the conclusion that this sucks, but I got to go with the lesser of two evils, which is clearly Joe Biden.
Yeah. And maybe I'm just being impatient. Maybe as a progressive, I'm just you got to wait until you just win the elections, girl. You need to win the elections.
And I think that's it. I think a lot of progressives are just impatient, and that's why they're just let's rip apart Joe Biden and talk about nothing else on our Facebook feeds than Joe Biden is terrible, to the point where we're just looking like we're a bunch of fucking right-wing crazy people.
I know, but are we impatient, or are we more aware of the fact that these are the huge issues that need to be tackled, and they can't be tackled with a bunch of means-tested Democratic policies for the next 20, 30 years?
Right, but I mean, if Biden loses, then this is all for naught. This is all nonsense. Everything that we're talking about with the Democratic Party doesn't even fucking matter, and we're just going to get our party more to the right.
But consider this. If Biden loses, what we need to talk about is more important than ever, because that means not only do we not have a majority of the country in support of mainstream, like middle of the road, moderate to somewhat progressive platform, but we also have a bunch of people who think Trump is palatable. Like, those are big problems.
If Trump wins.
I see your point.
I'm just saying, if we stop that, then we can fix the Democratic Party once he's won. But until then, this is all fucking, this is all just hypothetical shit.
I know.
And we're fighting about the hypotheticals before we've even gotten to the actual reality of whether or not he can even fucking win. Because
I feel you.
We're dividing ourselves before we've even beaten the fucking James Bond villain.
But that's the part I push back on. Is it actually divisive? That's my question. Why is it expected that we all just fall in line and rah, 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 rah now, instead of just saying, look, I'm going to vote, and I'm going to vote for Biden because I'm a fucking adult. But at the same time, a lot of these things have been disrespectful. We're leaving votes on the table of people who would like to be behind us but can't because we're awful at this. And can we just come out and say, look, the establishment Dems and Democrat, like a lot of elected Democratic officials in the past 4 years have been hot garbage.
Yeah, we can totally say that. I just feel like, I don't know. I just feel like it's scary right now because people coming out saying that shit are deterring the people that don't know a whole lot.
How do we know that?
People are fucking stupid. Because we know that people are fucking stupid. That's how we know. Okay? People are fucking stupid. They're bloody wind veins. Like you said.
As Sansa would say.
Yeah.
They're bloody wind veins.
They're bloody wind veins. And it's like,
Sansa,
we have to get behind this person who is fucking, like you said, hot garbage, like he just is. But he's not as bad as the fucking
I actually was calling some Democrats hot garbage, particularly that guy that
That's
switched
what I'm
parties.
saying.
But in the middle, those blue jock Democrats. Go ahead.
Yeah, but the Democrats right now, just period, are hot garbage, right? But they're not maggot-filled, death-smelling, fucking cult shit. Like hot garbage.
I feel you.
Like that's hotter garbage. And what by us being like, hey, the Democrats are hot garbage, can actually make it so that the hotter garbage wins.
Okay, fine.
And then
I'll
all
take
of our
it.
shit gets fucking postponed for the next decade of any fucking progressive policies being passed.
Okay, fine. I'm being an entitled millennial. Sure. Okay. I'll take it.
I'm just saying the damage that could be done in the next 4 years might just make it so that it's irreparable, so that we never get any more progressive policies. And, I don't know. I'm just saying the Supreme Court is a lifetime appointment. And RBG's, dude, she's not going to be there much longer.
Listen, I understand everything that's at stake. Trust me, I do. And I want Joe Biden to win more than anything. But I guess I'm just pushing back against this idea that if you're not constantly rah-rahing for Biden Harris, that somehow you're not aware of how serious this is. When I would like to contend, maybe it's the progressives who see exactly how serious all this is, and it's the Democrats who keep playing a short game instead of the long.
I agree. Yeah, they are totally playing a short game, and I wish they would be more progressive. Absolutely.
I don't even need them to be more progressive. I just wish they would say things more plainly. And listen, there was a lot of things said plainly, and I've been somewhat surprised by Obama and how open he's been in talking about just getting rid of the fucking filibuster. That to me was like, okay,
yeah, filibuster needs to go. Absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling that. Keep pushing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just, I'm saying, listen. Do your vote. do what you're supposed to do. Don't be out on the internet with all that negativity. I agree with you. All that negativity ain't right.
And please vote blue. I mean,
just
come on,
say
this is
your
all we
piece
got.
and then move the fuck on. But what I will say though is there's going to be a time where there's going to have to be a reckoning. It's probably going to be at the next DNC, like when we choose the next chairperson.
Yes. That's when
I
we
think
can be like, look.
You're right.
Y'all
You're
are
right.
fucked.
You're right.
These people are fucked.
I'll save
Y'all
it for the
need
next.
like
I will save it.
Right
I
now,
will save it then. I will save
the
it for
fire-
the next chairperson, and hopefully it'll be someone. I mean, I
feel like
just
at
so
this point, the
disrespectful.
house is
Like
on-
seriously, Pramelia Jayapal, like she couldn't talk. Really, like she's done so much this year. She couldn't have one slot. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't feel sufficiently excited this time around. And
No,
you know what?
I
It's
don't
a
either.
complete privilege to feel that way anyway. And, you know, I know that I'm being an entitled millennial right now. I get that. But I'm also just like, if y'all think I'm a problem, these Gen Zers are going to be a real fucking problem. Because they're even more than us. They're just like, fix this shit already. Like, fix it. Just fucking fix it.
Why are we still dealing with
Just
this shit?
fucking fix it.
This is crazy.
Just fucking fix it.
I agree.
Especially in light of how much we're dealing with right now due to COVID and all the other consequences of COVID, because we have such a just like ramshackle economy built on labor exploitation, and it's the chickens coming home to roost right now, and this neoliberal policy ain't gonna get us where we need to go.
No.
Anyway, that was my some type of way. If you could follow that, I don't even know what it was exactly. It was just me having feelings and trying to figure them out. I didn't figure it out. I will accept that I'm being a privileged, elitist millennial who has no patience.
So elitist.
I'll accept it. And then I don't respect my elders or whatever. Sure. I'll be that person. I'll take it for the team. Cause I know a shit ton of people feel like me, but that's all right. I'll take it for the team. Yeah. Anyway, that's our show this week, folks. First, let's say patrons, thank you so much for your support. Yeah. We hope that you have enjoyed what we have provided this week. We updated the patron page with an episode of a Mrs. America review that I did with the wonderful Amy's from the Secular Soup, Amy with a Y, Amy with an I. We did an entire review of Mrs. America, and we're going to be putting all of those episodes up on our Patreon. One is available to you now. If you're not a patron, please go to our Patreon page at www.patreon.com / unapologetics with an X.
Like the show. Yeah. Beyond that, actually, what is like really helpful to us is giving us a 5-star rating on iTunes, or giving us a 5-star rating for our Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And just the ratings really help. And I swear to God, somebody like went in there to fuck with me and put a 1-star rating. And it didn't happen until after I got in a debate about systemic racism. So I'm pretty sure, they were just like trying to hurt us because of that. But anyway,
for all those that have given us 5-star reviews, we really appreciate it. Especially shout out to Matthew from Odd Atheist Friends, because he gave us a great 5-star review.
Yes.
And also we
Matthew.
just were talking about you yesterday. This is just an aside for Matthew real quick, y'all. Sorry. But we were just talking about you yesterday because we watched that movie. What was it called?
Bloodshot,
that Vin Diesel movie where he has like all those nanobots inside of his body and like he's basically not a human anymore. And I was like, wait, isn't that what Matthew's really into, that transhumanism? And Brent was like, yeah, I guess so. And so Matt, you totally came up in my mind, because that transhumanism stuff that you put in there, it really, I want to read some more about that. It's so interesting to me.
It is.
But anyway,
fascinating.
You might be interested in that movie. Just an aside.
Yeah, check it out. It's terrible, but check it out. Oh my god.
It's pretty bad. The best part of it for sure is Winston, and I cannot remember his name right now.
Is awesome.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
Love that dude. Holy shit, he did
Winston
a great job.
from
his British accent. Holy fuck.
Actor Winston from New Girl. Lamorne Morris, that's his name. Lamorne Morris. He is the best part of that movie. Yes. And he has this like British accent. It's the first time I've ever seen. Well, no, it's like one of the few times a black person gets to play somebody British.
Right.
And he actually did a really good job.
He killed it.
His
I
accent
didn't even know it was him. Like, Nikki had to tell me, I was like, that guy kind of, like, that British guy kind of looks like the guy from New Girl. And she was like, that's totally him. And I was like, what? Fucking what? Really?
Yeah, especially too
Holy
because
shit.
Brent is really like on notice about just like knowing for sure that a black person is
Yeah,
who he
no,
thinks he is because he confuses them.
I will not do that. Yeah, because that's racist. So I'm like, he kind of looks like maybe he might be related to a cousin of Terry Crews. I don't fucking. Anyway.
Oh my goodness.
No, that's Terry Crews. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right,
That
my
was
bad.
definitely
My
the
bad.
best part of that entire movie was him and his English accent. Outside of that, it was everything that you imagine in a Vin Diesel movie. There was an angry white Latinx woman that, of course, was his love interest. She was basically a young Michelle Rodriguez. Yes. They gave her almost no fucking like personality or character like motivation outside of saving Vin Diesel.
Badassness. That's it.
Yeah,
that's all you
get.
Badass. That's
who
what you get.
Was going to risk her entire self to save Vin Diesel, and because he's the true victim of the movie. And so yeah, just watch it.
Yeah,
it's
check
exactly
it out.
what you'd expect.
See what you think. Let
it's
us
pretty
know.
good. I mean, if you have a nice TV, watch it because like that's the biggest point of watching these action movies now, just so you can see how beautiful they look on these newfangled TVs that are just like really awesome.
Yeah, dude, we got a new TV, and so like everything looks like weird. It looks weird. It feels like a soap opera. I don't know. That's just me. Like I feel like everything's like
This is too clear.
The light is like too perfect, and like it looks like a soap opera, even though they're doing this action movie sequences.
Yeah, I don't like that. But anyway, yes, please give us reviews. We just went off again. Sorry, you know us.
5-star review, please.
5-star reviews.
iTunes.
Catch us on, or catch Brent at Facebook on our Unapologetics page.
Mm-hmm.
You can also email us at unapologetics666@gmail.com.
Yep.
And Brent, did you have any announcements about your upcoming show?
No, we actually just did a test run with Left of the Valley, which is great. I had a blast meeting the
first
new
show
cast.
forthcoming.
Yeah,
First show
So,
forthcoming.
Left of the Valley.
That 15 times.
Left of the Valley 2.0. Please, keep a lookout for that because it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
And
I heard him laughing all through the house. I was like, oh, they're having such a good time. I love it. So, Brent,
Yeah.
what do we say to the haters, discriminators, and masturbator shamers?
Fuck off.
You're drunk as fuck. You're drunk as fuck.
Really?
Yeah.